straight into the headlines. I have got 3 newspapers here. Let me start with the Standard. What do you have on the front page of the Standard? Trouble in paradise. That is what's making the front page of the Standard newspaper. Trouble in paradise. That is on the flash of the Standard newspaper. It continues to read that what started as a tiff on who sits where between Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and Public Service CS Moses Kuria has opened the lead on power plays in the Kenya Kwanza government, with subtle threats being issued by senior government officials. Trouble in paradise. And let me just quote what Kibisu Kibatesi, who is Musalia Mudavadi's aide, said. He said that any public servant purporting to allocate ministerial locations or portfolios is misguided to the extent that they are attempting to usurp a function that belongs to the president. That is according to Kibisu Kabatesi. That is trouble in paradise. Again, Ruto pitches tent in China. He is in China. His first official visit, a 3-day official visit in China. And is also expected to meet the president, Xi Jinping, in China. We are waiting to see how that meeting is going to be. Raila praise for Kalonzo raises eyebrows. Raila praise for Kalonzo raises eyebrows. He was speaking yesterday in Bondo during his brother Oburu Odinga's 80th birthday. That is going to be forming part of our discussion this morning. Trouble in paradise. David Alulu, good morning. Good to see you. Karibu sana to the program.
Thank you so much.
What started as a tiff on who sits where? Now, the tiff between Musalia Mudavadi and CS Moses Kuria. What do you make on this? Trouble in paradise.
Thank you, Victor. I believe that Kenya Kwanza government is finding itself in a very tight position because now we are starting to hear people say a pre-election agreement, coalition agreements, which were never made clear or visible to most of us. Now, when we have guys like Kabatesi, who says nobody has the power to reassign, and then we have the head of public service and the chief of staff, who has given information on reorganization. So Kabatesi is not superior to Felix, who is the chief of staff at the State House. But then you realize, since we are in a country where everybody wants to feel powerful, confusion is going to erupt day and night until the president again has to come into position and take charge of his own office to make sure that the rearrangement is understood, because the reshuffle that took place a short while ago was meant to streamline and make things flow in the government. So if the president saw it wise to give the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary responsibility to represent Kenya in the foreign sphere, then it's important for people to accept that it is time for us to move on. We can't be rolling and tossing ourselves around who is powerful than the other. In the long run, the benefits comes to an ordinary manager, and if there is fight like now, the trouble in the paradise, which is true, there is trouble in the paradise, then you discover that we are having problems as a nation, because eventually the people who are supposed to gain from this are now losing, who are us, the common wananchi at the ground. So this needs to be fixed soon as possible.
This needs to be fixed soon as possible. All right. By the way, David Alulu is a political and economic analyst joining us on the show. I beg your pardon, I didn't say that. He's a political and economic analyst. On the same front, Amigo, good morning.
Morning to you, Victor.
Good to see you once again.
Good to see you too.
Umenyeshewa?
Bado.
Okay. All right. This is Nairobi. We wake up in the morning, you go to bed, it's quite dry. When you wake up in the morning, it's all rainy.
Yeah, obvious.
Yeah. All in the name of climate change.
Climate change.
Absolutely. Trouble in paradise. What do you make of this headline?
Yeah. I'm happy because of the administration that we have.
Mm.
Indeed, when you see these amendments and these adjustments, in that apex body for the executive, then you realize that the president is committed in having that sharing and the devolution of power, that he wants to decentralize his power so that it can be felt among the cabinet. And this is why you see there is shadow and also the alignment. But now the reason which I may have a different view is that when you see any hiccup among the cabinet itself, then it means that house is not in order. So the president again, yes, he has done a good move, but he should pause and then try to adjust some of the issues.
Was it just a matter of time? Was it just a matter of time? Because the reason why I'm asking this is that when it all started, everything was rosy. Things seemed to be so quiet when, you know, at the infancy stage of forming the government. But they say that familiarity breeds contempt. Are we in that state of affairs right now? Aluru?
Yes. And this was just a matter of time. Because anywhere people are coming with the intent of sharing power and resources, even if it is not made clearer to people, at some point, some people start feeling like they are either being despised or left out of the picture. And now you see we have these fellows who came and formed Kenya Kwanza. And majority of them feel we are part and parcel of this. You'd hear the statement from the speaker back then saying that when they elect me as a speaker, I'll be number 3 most powerful man. And then guys supporting Musalia come and say, no, you'll not be number 3. Musalia will be the number 3 super most powerful. So this was meant to happen because eventually majority of people in this circle are looking up to the power. They are more interested in power than delivery of service to humanity. People of Kenya want service, but then those in the office are now feeling like everybody should see who is more powerful than the other. It is not supposed to be like that. But unfortunately, we are in a country where everybody wants to feel special than the other party. So with that in mind of the leaders or people who are getting leadership roles and responsibilities, we find ourselves in a tight spot. And like he says, it is now time for the president himself to come and put his house in order and tell guys, listen, much as we understand, people need to feel powerful, people need this kind of respect and this and that, but let's work as a team because after all, it is just the same body. Responsibilities might be different, but we are the same government, one people, and we have to deliver if they need to be re-elected back to the office. That is my take.
Okay, very good. In the inner pages of the Standard newspaper, 6,290 hectares of forest lost in 1 year, according to a report. Continues that more than 496,919 alerts were reported in Kenya between April 2022 and October 2023. Deforestation alerts between September to October were reported across Narok, Nakuru, Kericho, Elgeyo Marakwet, and Nyamira counties. That is according to the report. Police officer shoots her husband dead in Eldoret. It's reported that the lady, a policewoman, shot her husband dead and surrendered herself to authorities in an incident that has shocked residents of Eldoret town in Uasin Gishu. It said that the lady, Constable Lillian Biwott, an administration police officer attached to the Kenya Bureau of Standards, Eldoret branch, is alleged to have shot Edwin Kipchumba, a civilian, following a domestic feud. She is said to have shot her husband 12 times in the chest and head after a bitter exchange of words in the early hours of Sunday. Grace to the family. Raila hints at backing Kalonzo for top seat in 2027 polls. This is what we are going to be discussing today. Raila heaps praise on Wiper leader, saying that he is trustworthy and has been steadfast. It continues to read that opposition leader accused Kenya Kwanza of failing to address insecurity as they counter Ruto's charm offensive. Naftali?
Yes, Naftali Nyamongo.
Yes. Raila hints at backing Kalonzo for top seat in 2027.
Yeah. So before that.
Yes.
The position of controlling influence.
I'll come back to you shortly.
Thank you.
Sorry for that. Okay. Very quickly, on to the front page of the Daily Nation. Inside the big junior high mess. What school? A national investigation reveals the sorry state of junior schools located in public primary schools. There is little or no learning going on, with a few teachers stretched to the limit and covering all the subject areas by themselves, thus affecting learning quality. And things can only get worse as a new class transitions in 2024. That is what's on the front page of the Daily Nation. Still on the front page of the Daily Nation here, Mudavadi takes on Koskei over roles and office. That is also captured, actually, what is in the front page, on the front page of the Standard newspaper. Mudavadi takes on Koskei over roles and office. Prime Cabinet Secretary and Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has accused Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service Felix Koskei of overstepping his mandate, escalating an ongoing tussle with Public Service CS Moses Kuria over the roles and locations of their offices. Alulu, let me just ask you, as I come back to you, Naftali, why does it happen that every time when the president makes an international trip, something has to happen back home? Does it have to go when the cat is away? It's now time for the rat to make some lap of honor around the house.
The Swahili saying paka kiondoka panya utawala.
Yes.
It makes a meaning because I think even at home, when the father is in the house, it's rare to find children shouting right, left, and center. But when father is out, then everybody would be willing to try and demonstrate or show themselves that they are either superior or powerful, or probably they can say this or that. So yes, when the president is out of the country, majority of leaders, everybody wants to feel more powerful and more superior than the other. We remember just the other time, when the president was in New York and Moses Kuria was saying he's now the acting president.
Yes.
All right. And so you'd realize we are now in a situation where the then acting president has been given roles. I heard him say, Moses Kuria said the other day,
quote in quote.
Yeah, quote in quote.
And then again, on a lighter note.
On a lighter
Yes.
I heard him say that now the president has seen confidence in me and given me the responsibility to supervise all the ministers. I think this is now what is bringing problem in the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. And so to have this settled, we go back to the point that it is about time, number one, our leaders sober up and know that it is a privilege to serve, not a right.
It's a privilege.
People should not look at it like if I'm given this responsibility, that me being here on set with you, it is not a right. It is a privilege given to me. Many other people can sit here and analyze things better than I do. So when you get an opportunity, demonstrate to the people that we are here to serve and not to fight of who is powerful and who is less powerful. That is my take.
All right. Ireri Mwathi, good morning. Good to see you once again.
Morning, sir.
Ireri Mwathi is a political and a governance expert joining us on the show once again. We started with the standard trouble in paradise, almost the same thing. Mudavadi takes on Kosgei, but let me come back to you and just get your point in just 1 minute, kindly, for the sake of fairness. Trouble in paradise on the front page of the Standard. What do you make of this? What started as a tiff on who sits where is now escalating into something completely different. What do you make of this headline?
I think the issue of the cabinet secretaries trying to ask to fight about who sits where.
Yes.
I think it's neither here nor there. It's because what matters is the service you give to the people. It doesn't matter much on where your office is or the rest. Nonetheless, because I'm sure the Prime Cabinet Secretary's office at Railways, there was, from the word go, it had been decided, meant for him. So at this time when now there's this, leave this place, leave it to Moses Kuria, go to Treasury, I think it is an issue that should not be arising, because at the end of the day, what we need and what the Mwananchi need is service. Or maybe those who did it, when he did it, maybe he had many things in his mind. One, when you talk of Davadi being given the docket of foreign affairs, we all know Nairobi, and you know foreign affairs entails people like ambassadors going to a service, and maybe because of it is the ambience is better in the areas where there are no matatus and everything. Maybe that was the reason behind, but it has blown out of context. Maybe whoever was allocating that is what he had in mind, that we would like the ambassadors not to be entangled in the traffic jam of the railways roundabout going to see the principal cabinet secretary. Maybe, I'm saying maybe, that is what they had in mind. They would like to be in an area where it's not so congested and all that. But now, mentioning that alone bring some issues. That gives tells us that as you do anything, there should be consultation. Because it's clear that there was no consultation between the people concerned. Maybe there should have been some consultation between Mudavadi, Moses Kuria, Mudavadi being told, we want you to go to this place because of ABCD, Moses Kuria, can you go here? If there was that consultation, we would not have seen it bring up in public. So what I would insist on is the issue of consultation in the government circles before making any major decision like that. But at the end of the day, what we want is a service. And this is an issue that the government can sort very soberly, and this is not an issue that to be taken out of.
Gentlemen, allow me to ask you all of these questions. But Naftali, you come in. We rarely see, or we rarely saw such kind of confrontation during the last regime. I know it would be unfair to make comparisons, but it's always good to look back from where you've come from for you to have a clear vision of where you want to be. Why now? It's too early in the day, 1 year in office, and we see cabinet secretaries having a tussle, and it has to call for the president to come in between to mediate. I know I'm using that word deliberately, pun intended, as a certified professional mediator. The president has to come in to mediate. I'm trying to look at the next 4 years, how it's going to be. We are going to have such kind of headlines a lot.
Absolutely. Victor, the lack of clarity in etiquette and the protocol as far as the functioning of the government is concerned is the major issue here. Etiquette are those rules governing socially acceptable behavior as a public or state officer. So there have to be diplomacy within that realm of the executive. Diplomacy is the management of information through communication. As my brother said, there is lack of communication. So there ought to be that protocol. And the reason why I'm getting it, our leaders, both our leaders and the people of Kenya do not understand clearly what is the protocol in our government. Who is superior, who is inferior. And this has come first through the contemplation.
That is a no-brainer, Naftali.
Of the sovereignty of the people.
That's a no-brainer.
No, when you look at the sovereignty of the people, the first batch to get that power from the people is the legislature. So the legislature in this case becomes superior as far as the three arms of the government are concerned. Then number two, when you look at Article 1 of the Constitution, the other arm which now gets that power as the second most powerful is the national executive and the executive structures of the county governments. Then lastly now, the judiciary and independent tribunals. Now, in regard to the executive, the right or power to give orders and make decisions is vested in the president as the head of state and the government. Now, when you see the cabinet, it is clear, and I had my friend speak about Musalia Mudavadi saying he's superior than Moses Kuria. Constitutionally, the person who is the third most powerful as far as the government of Kenya is concerned is the speaker. And this one you get it in Article 146 during the vacancy of the president, that if the deputy president, if the office of the deputy president is vacant, or if the deputy president is unable to act, then the Speaker of the National Assembly assumes office for 60 days. Then an election is done. So in regard to hierarchy, who is more powerful between Moses Wetangula and Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula is superior as far as the constitution is concerned.
Yes.
Now, this issue of Musalia Mudavadi being seen as the super cabinet secretary is a minor thing. It's trivial as far as the framers of the constitution of Kenya is concerned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alulu, this reminds me again of the super CS we had Ongengo Matiang'i in the last regime. But when you listen to what Mudavadi, what Ford Kenya Wetangula said some times back, I think it was last week, he said that he referred to Musalia Mudavadi, this is my brother. And in terms of hierarchy and seniority in government, of course, Wetangula is the third most constitutionally. That brings a bit of some, you know, rivalry, between siblings rivalry, between Musalia and Wetangula. Back home, or even nationally.
Yeah, you know, we had such a scenario like this during the 2008 National Accord during President Kibaki and the then Prime Minister Raila Odinga's tenure, where Raila Odinga could complain most of the times that the president is making decisions without consulting me. So, regarding the consultation, here is where the confusion is coming from.
Yes.
One, majority of these leaders in government, especially those given ministerial responsibilities, joined into a coalition called Kenya Kwanza to form a government. And probably everybody who came with their parties, because Moses Wetangula came with his Ford Kenya, Musalia Mudavadi came with his ANC, the Speaker of Senate, Amason, came with his PA, and many others, including Moses Kuria and others. I'm sure when they came in, they had some sort of expectation. And the expectation was, if I'm given a leadership responsibility, I'll have some sort of influence in this. But then, when the president was now settling down to create the structures and give everybody responsibility, we did not see anything. I don't remember the parliament coming up with a bill that gave that office of the prime cabinet secretary some supernatural powers. Because as far as we are concerned, like he says, the office of prime cabinet secretary is just as the office of minister of treasury, cabinet secretary of treasury, and or any other department of the government. However, for some reason, it was created to give an impression that the prime cabinet secretary is somehow the prefect of the rest of the CSS. And so when these changes come in, people will feel like there is somebody's undermining the office of the prime cabinet secretary or this and that. But I don't think it should be neither here nor there, because all the appointments of this government are done by the president. Okay. And if they are done by the president, only the president has the power to decide this will run this and this will run that. Yes. And once that responsibility has been given, you take it as a privilege, like I said.
Executive
take
powers.
It as, yes, the president has the ultimate powers to decide and to organize his government as he so wishes. You see, at this particular time, the only person who has some unique favors from the Constitution as it is right now, it is the Deputy President.
So
he's the only one who cannot be changed or twisted. He is there by law.
The same way I also have executive powers to say we need to take a break.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Those
Okay,
are
I have
not
executive powers to take a break. You have your cups of tea, I have nothing.
Those are not
So,
executive.
hey, mine is executive power.
They are the powers for the not executive.
Exactly.
The executive is standing.
No,
So
no, in your own thinking.
All right, let's
But
take a
it's
break.
not
We'll be right
executive.
back with this discussion. Stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. On to the front page of the Star newspaper very quickly. Cartels making a killing from pending bills. Cartels making a killing from pending bills. Connected individuals seek hefty bribes to facilitate payments to desperate suppliers. That is what's on the front page of the Star newspaper here. The story continues on page 4 and, excuse me for that, on page 4 and page 5 of this particular newspaper. You can take a look at that. Of course, we've talked about the issue of pending bills. It's something that we can never overemphasize. Really look at this. Cartels making a killing. For you to get your right, you have to pay for you to get your right, that right of yours. Yeah. Sorry, state of affairs here.
Which is actually not very good in a democratic state like Kenya.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we know there are people who have been auctioned. There are people who have gone bankrupt. And they have done some business with the government. So now when you are told that there's an opening that you can be paid your money, I think you'll be forced to bed low so that at least you get some money. It's a high time that the government comes up with good procurement mechanism such that people do not suffer just because of working for the government.
Yeah.
Minus that, this will continue happening. But it's a bad thing in the Kenya we are in today, but we know it has really happened. People have just been messed up. People have sold their properties just to maybe pay loans. But at the end of the day, they have worked for the government.
Yeah.
Because of this, that's why people now are coming in, some genuine, others in whichever method, to tell people that the government owes you this, give me this, I'll be able to assist. In desperation of the Kenyan hard-working business people, they will just bet too low. It's very bad. I think the government should come in and ensure that this does not continue, this does not happen, both in national and the county governments.
Yeah.
It should be clear that once you work for the government, because the procurement rules are very clear. You don't, in some instances, you don't procure when you don't have the resources.
Yeah.
So you wonder what happens to a level that the pending bills are pushed to years and years without being paid.
Yeah.
I think the government should come in and clear this mess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Naftali, when you look at this kind of headlines, it clearly tells it's not something new to us as a nation. We've had many situations, people getting into depression, banks attaching properties, collaterals, and people have lost their property in the process of getting that loan to procure a pen, to procure something, at whatever it is, to the counties, to the hospitals, whichever part you want to procure. But then cartels making a killing from pending bills. Who will save us?
Now, personally, I'm a victim. I do business with the government.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's first-hand information.
Yeah, I do business with government. But in my case, I get paid and sometimes I don't. So I rejoice because you see, it is fair. But I have friends who have done business with the government for the last 6 years. They have never been paid. And this is what now we call pending bills. Sometimes these procurement officers, in liaising with the finance department, can frustrate a guy. And this is morally bad in practice and principle, as far as the procurement rules and the Constitution of Kenya is concerned. There should be openness in fiscal management, that financial, prudence in financial management. You cannot procure stationery in your offices when you don't have a budget.
Yeah.
If you don't have a budget, then don't procure. Don't ask for bidding. But we know this government has money. It is only those cartels that have sat down and have collaborated with the procurement officers to frustrate the people of Kenya.
The question is,
it
who
is
will
really
save
frustrating.
us?
Who will save us? We have the court and the judicial system. And we also have the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. Yeah, these things are there in our phones. The communications are there. Some of the systems in our DCIO can even track communications through WhatsApps. And the people of Kenya do not know how to hide. They display this information just arbitrarily. So there's a laxity in the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution and the DCIO, and that now avenue to the road to the High Court. Someone instituting court proceedings that the government officer in the public department of a certain institution has done ABCD I mean out of harmony with the procedure laid down during the procurement laws.
All right.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who died last year. May he rest in peace, Job. He did procurement with a certain county and waited for 7 years to get paid. So that is it a dead bill? Is it a pending bill? Because it's never been paid. That's the state of affairs. And that really explains how many people have got into depression because of pending bills. It's not something new, David, to us in this country. But do we really need to get to this particular point and just have some hygiene in everything we do? Because I'm just tempted to ask, what kind of magic do you use for you to get paid? Because many people don't. For it to make it on the front page of a newspaper, then it means it's a red flag.
Let me
Which magic stick do you use to strike?
You don't know, like now, personally, I have had, and it is open, I have had a procurement officer say to me, unless you pay me this amount, your money cannot be remitted. You will not be compensated on what you have done unless you give me a certain figure, and I have evidence. So it is like that blackmail from these institutions, but a few people. And I'm glad that the hierarchy, the topmost management, is not aware. It is just junior officers who have learned the system and the loopholes. Now they get out to molest those bidders.
What's the worst that can happen if you reported such a case? What's the worst that can happen?
Of course, someone may lose a job.
But you'll be paid. But you'll be paid.
And you will be paid.
So you need to report. Let him lose his job, because do you know, would you imagine how many people are in a situation like yours?
Many people. Many people. And it is very frustrating.
Central Police is just
It is very disenfranchising.
Central Police Station is just 200 meters away from it.
And you say just the evidence.
It's just across the fence. David Alulu, we really need to get into that hygiene and clean our procurement system, and probably waking up one day and say that everybody is singing hallelujah, that they procured, they attach whatever they would attach for them to procure, and then they get paid. We would be a happy kind of a nation if we wake up to such kind of a moment.
Well, yes, we would be a very happy lot if we walk up to a country where you don't need to have kitu kidogo for you to do what you have to do, or for you to enjoy services that are rightfully yours. I just wanted to say on a lighter note, maybe our brother here knows somebody in the higher places that helps him to get paid easily. But it is not easy, these things.
He left to tell us.
And the problem we are having, it is so bad that right from the door of wanting to procure or to deliver a service or to benefit from whatever service in the government, there is somebody who sees an opportunity to get something from you. Now, who is to save us? I think the institutions that have been given roles and responsibilities, by this I mean the likes of EACC, should know. I like the way the CEO of EACC speaks about corruption. But maybe I don't like the way we are seeing things happen, because we would want to see that systems working in these government institutions, because like he says, the junior officers in these departments who are asking for something, don't be surprised, they are doing it for their seniors in the department. But now, since the senior cannot come and ask you to do it, then they'll use somebody who you might not connect to the senior. I remember the other day when the police boss, IG, had a meeting, I think, with the State House Chief of Staff, and they were talking about corruption. And I am happy the IG said that we have to admit there is a problem. The police officer collects 50 shillings from the road, and then goes to give the inspector or something. It goes up until actually he finished saying, hata ikibidi, hata IG anatumiwa. So he admitted that this thing is too bad, that whoever is doing it knows I have to get this much so that I break it and make sure everybody gets it so that we are safe. So to get this monster out of us, the institutions given responsibilities must really take it seriously. But again, good Kenyans who have come across such a menace in their line of operation should be courageous enough. I admit kwamba, even if I'm going to lose this deal or this tender, but I have to report this matter so that it does not affect another person.
Naftali,
but you see, if you fail, if you fail to report, if you fail to report and just take it lying low, then even if your case shall be sorted, you are now affecting
but
other
you all
people.
have to agree.
Let me answer him, Victor. I will not go to the police.
Right.
Why? I have experience. I have ways to ask for my rights. So if I have gone to the finance department, I have presented my case, I have given them my income statement about the invoice, the date, and the amount. So if a finance department officer states categorically that, Naftali, we know we have your money. We know we have your money.
But
so we will pay you. We do not deny. We understand we have your money. We will pay you. What will you do? You can only go to the police when they have denied they do not have your money. But once they have accepted, you just wait.
But you go to the police.
But there is this question.
You just wait.
There is this question.
And I'm waiting.
No, there is this question about the cartels.
Okay.
Yeah.
The cartels making a kill out of the pending bills, where you've been waiting for your pay for the past 6 years. And then somebody comes and tells you, we know that we owe you 10 million, but you have to part with 2 million for this to be processed.
That's criminal.
All right? And since many people have been waiting, and the other day I was talking to my banker, and she told me we no longer give LPOs for government and county governments because they don't pay. So it is affecting even the entrepreneurs.
Financial institutions.
Financial institutions are now running away from financing this bill. So the cartels are in the systems, and to make it worse, there are people who are supposed to be protecting us, but unfortunately they want to eat out of it. Ni kama kesi ya mchungaji kukula kondoo.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Actually, you can take a look at that story. It's on page 6 of the Star newspaper here. And the person quoted speaking here is Professor Njuguna Ndungu, who is the CS Treasury, saying that there is just so much. We have got some mind-boggling figures here. How cartels are working with state officials, raking millions in government pending bills, insist on signing fake legal contracts with suppliers, which they use to demand kickbacks from state. So,
that is our society.
All right, state of affairs there. Gentlemen, before we take a break, let's look at what's happening. And they say that when your neighbor's house is on fire, we have to look at that. On the front page of France 24, something is happening in not so far away from our country here, live. That is, Biden says that Israel occupying Gaza would be a big mistake. That is on France 24. Biden says that Israel occupying Gaza would be a big mistake. It says that any move by Israel to occupy the Gaza Strip again would be a big mistake, quote unquote, according to the US President Joe Biden, who said in an interview released on Sunday, as Israeli troops prepared for a ground invasion. That was updated 2 minutes ago. That's the president. Of course, Kamala Harris. Somebody said that name sounds lawyer-ish.
Yeah, from Bungoma. It's from Bungoma.
Alulu.
Yes.
Kamala. Biden says that calls killing of Muslim boy horrific act of hate. Gentlemen, we have to be very careful. President Joe Biden on Sunday condemned the deadly stabbing attack against a 6-year-old Muslim boy, which police have linked to the ongoing Israel-Hamas war as horrific of hate. Very quickly, on the front page again of the BBC, that's there, inside the exhausted Gazan city with 1 million mouths to feed. A desperate and destitute tide of humanity has washed into Khan Yunis, and there is no help. That is what's on the front page of the BBC. Khan Yunis, a Gaza city on its knees, now with 1 million mouths to feed. The story continues there. A tide of humanity has washed into Khan Yunis. That's the story going. The issue here, giving a complete map of where the problem is, the evacuation area, this is the Gaza city where we have. And and now it seems that things are not so okay. Gentlemen, things are not okay as far as this is concerned. Let me start with you, Mwathi, as we come to a quick break, very quickly. What do you make of this?
Yes, I think this is an issue that the US is intervening. We know US is a friend of the Israel and also the Britain and Kenya included.
Yeah.
Maybe this is something that will have a big effect even in Kenya because we know. We have been struggling with the cost of living being high. This is attributed to the war in Asia, the area war. Now with this one coming, we may expect tougher times in Kenya because Israel is even closer to us as far as the democratic, as far as the relationship between Kenya and Israel. We know we have interacted with them politically, in our economic affairs. They have come into our aid in various ways. They have businesses here.
Yes.
We know even our president has gone there, and they have funded some activities here in Kenya. So when they are at war, we expect that to affect us negatively in a while, in a few days to come. So it is the high time that we have seen US is intervening. It should also be okay if this thing ends in the quickest time possible. Otherwise, the effect will be able to feel it in Kenya.
Naftali, when you look at that, more than 1,500 people have been killed so far, and the tiff continues. The issue is Gaza Strip. And now when you see the big boy, United States, saying that's going to be a big mistake. I mean, we don't need to preempt what would happen next. Naftali, a quick one before we take a break.
The big boy here is not even the U.S. The big boy is the international community, where the U.S. is part of.
Yes.
So when you see Biden speak, he's just doing some PR.
But does he represent the big boys?
The fact remains that the Jews do not have land.
Yeah.
They are genuine land. And this has come from that promise which was given to Abraham. Abraham was told to leave his country to go to another country. When he went to that country, Sarah, the wife, had to die. So in that alien aspect, he bought land to bury his wife. And this is where now the children of Israel went back.
What are you talking about?
Listen to me. This is capable of being treated as fact. I'm giving you facts which are there.
Yes.
The Jewish people do not have their own land. The land which they are occupying, in fact, the land which they first occupied through Joshua was not theirs. It belongs to 7 nations. The Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Jebusites, and the Girgashites. And later on now, when they went to exile, they came back in 1948 when the UN gave them a state and they occupied the land of the Palestinians. They do not have their land. That is a fact. But where do they get this gusto to occupy another person's land?
We have this map here now. What are you talking about? We have that map there. That's the Gaza Strip. This is now the contested area. The Mediterranean Sea on the other side, Israel on this side,
when you
Jerusalem
look at that,
here is Israel on this end.
Okay, when you look at that,
yes.
another map shows in 1948 when Israel got its independence,
yes.
they were just 650 people.
Yes.
So they invaded Palestine. That was not their land. They invaded Palestine. And then as days went by, they have killed the Palestinians from their own land, and now the Palestinians are occupying just a small tip at the Gaza Strip. It is the reason why the President of the United States is saying that indeed you have done them so much harm,
yes.
leave them for this one also.
That reminds me that there is nothing new under the sun.
There is nothing new under the sun. What has been will be again, and what has happened will happen again.
In this particular point, there is that Rafah crossing where now Egypt has now agreed to accept some kind of a window to help people, refugees, to cross over to Egypt. Israel, Egypt, the kind of relationship, Jerusalem, we all know the story. Okay.
Now,
let's take a break before we start opening.
Did you listen to the speech of Benjamin? Did you listen to his speech?
No.
He spoke profoundly, giving the biography of the Israelites.
Let's take a break, Pastor. Sorry, Naftali.
Thank you. No, I'm a member of the clergy. I'm a pastor.
We'll be right back with more. Stay with us.
Thank you.
And welcome back. Now, I've just left this map open intentionally because there's a heated debate on what is happening. Now, this is where the problem is. Ireri, Alulu, and Naftali. This is where the Gaza Strip is. Pastor Naftali, what do you make of this? You're talking about here. This is the contested area.
Victor, listen to me. That is a tip of the iceberg, the Gaza Strip.
Yes.
Remember, the land which you are showing right there is the land of the Palestinians, not the land of the Israelites. The Jews, get it from me, the Jews do not own any land on the planet. Whatever they own is the land of other people. Abraham was told that I will give you the land of the aliens, where you live as an alien. Who is an alien? An alien is a visitor. An alien is a foreigner. So because of that command by God to Abraham and his descendants, now Benjamin Netanyahu, who is from the tribe of Judah, is executing the command of God. And you listen to his speech. He went ahead to extract the excerpts of the Passover, he reminded them, he is reminding the Palestinians and the whole world that they do not forget what the Passover was. Why? Moses said in the book of Exodus 14, verse 13 and 14, do not be afraid. Stand firm and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. So it is about God's command. But because God deals with humanity, I have done diplomatic etiquette and protocol. And I've done also humanitarian diplomacy. God is of all the inhabitants, whether Muslims, Christians, Hindus, or everywhere. There is a large chunk of land in the desert. The Palestinians will have to look for another land to occupy. But this one, the Israelites will occupy it fully. Give it time. Is that the genesis, Mwathi? I can see you're trying to raise your hand.
What I think
is this iron politics, really?
As we move on,
yes,
I think the international community must come in here, and in this day and age when we have the UN and we have the G7 and all that, I think they will just come in, and I don't agree with him that the Palestinians will go and look for another land. I think there is a way of them being protected. Or we know Israel, their military power is super, the top of the notch. So our only issue is that innocent life will be lost, and it is the high time that the international community comes in just to save them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, let's come back home.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's do this. Let's talk about that. Raila endorses Kalonzo to face Ruto in 2027 State House bid. He was speaking yesterday in Bondo during his brother Buru Dinga's 80th birthday, and that is going to be forming our discussion this particular morning on iron politics. David Alulu, Raila endorses Kalonzo to face Ruto in 2027 State House bid. We all know that Kalonzo Musyoka is a co-chair of the bipartisan talks, I beg your pardon, that is almost giving their report in a few days' time. Was his selection to be part of that team accidental or not? And Raila now praising Kalonzo Musyoka as a steadfast, trustworthy, a person who stood with him over the years, accidental or not. And talking of 2027, what are we reading in this?
I think we have a problem in our Kenyan political system. Our politics in Kenya is full of deceit, pretense, and it is too early to judge whether or not Raila Odinga is honest with his remarks for yesterday, because we've had scenarios way back when we were not privy to their agreements, but we have had more than once Kalonzo coming and saying, Raila Odinga said he will endorse me for this. Raila Odinga said he will endorse me for this, and when time comes, the statement shifts. Let's not forget that not far away from now, recently, Raila Odinga was meeting some young people, and they said, I'm still young. I can still try this thing. So don't be surprised if 2025, 2026, things fall apart and everybody decides to go their own way. In Kenyan politics, it is so hard and very complicated to try and make a prediction of what would happen in the next election. A lot of things would change. A lot of people would be wanting to align themselves to a winning team. If we remember what happened after the 2017 elections, the handshake scenario, where Raila Odinga left the likes of Akina Musalia and Kalonzo and went to have a handshake with President Uhuru. And everybody was complaining, saying we didn't know. One gentleman said, we were given Nigerian lines and told to wait for a call, and only to see on TV something is happening. So sometimes it's very complicated in our political system. So I think Raila was reacting to the statement by the president during his tour of Nyanza, when president said I'm ready to face off with Kalonzo and requested Raila Odinga to support him for once. So maybe because politics is very sensitive, Raila Odinga had to react to that. But at this particular time, I think it is too early. I don't think it was an accident to have Kalonzo on that table as the co-chair for the bipartisan team. It might have been intentional to try and make him feel comfortable because, you know, Azimio is also feeling insecure with the level of people shifting from the Azimio side to the Kenya Kwanza. Everybody must be very careful. So nobody wants to lose anybody in this arithmetics. Everybody wants to try and maintain their team moving forward. And so they had to find a way because, you know, Kalonzo felt shortchanged when Martha Karua was given the running mate for Azimio during last election. We remember he even had launched his own presidential bid, and then later on the change of heart and everything. So there is still a lot going on that we might not be able to understand, but I don't trust Raila's word.
You don't trust Raila's word?
I don't.
Naftali?
That is it. You can't trust Raila Odinga. In fact, his statement that he's gonna support the Kalonzo Musyoka is not true. From where I said, why him? Why support Kalonzo Musyoka? There are so many people in Azimio. So when he decides he's going to support Kalonzo Musyoka, he's simply saying to us, he's not free from favoritism or self-interest or bias or deception. Why Kalonzo? Because he's a leader of Azimio.
Why not him?
Why? First, why him? First, why him? Because I'm arguing there are many people here. We have Hassan Ijo. We have Wycliffe Oparanya. We have Simbarate. We have big wigs in Azimio. So when you choose an individual as high as this, even Jeremiah Kioni, we have so many people. My friend,
and that is the question.
When you decide as a father to take sides, no, I'm not saying. You see,
but we are also looking at their level of history. How many years and how many times does Kalonzo supported Raila Odinga?
I'm using his own words.
Okay.
Kalonzo, Baba said, Kalonzo Musyoka ni Mukristo, who is not a Christian, who is not a Christian. So are we supporting a person because of religion? That was morally bad in principle and practice from a leader of his caliber. You can only subject Kalonzo Musyoka to a process which appears to merit belief and acceptance from within the party members and the delegates. Not just blanket like that Kalonzo Musyoka I support. Okay. How it is not only Kalonzo Musyoka who has supported Baba. Baba has been supported by many people.
Okay. Could it be a process of preparing heir apparent in this kind of situation? In terms of seniority and in terms of that hierarchy?
Truth be told,
yes.
In the Azimio grouping, Kalonzo is the senior most politician. Remember, he has been vice president. Remember, he has held several dockets in the ministry, in the three presidents, the times of Moi, the times of Kibaki. So, if we are looking at a politician who is fully baked, Kalonzo fits into that. I'm looking at why we asking why Kalonzo. Kalonzo is one of the senior most politicians in that area. Even when he was not given the running mate slot and given to Martha Karua, it was just because of the tribal balance. Otherwise, he was equal to the task. Or no, that does not mean Raila's wants are true. This is a very, very, very well-planned strategy to ensure that Raila stays in power.
Okay. So
what do I mean? When you look at Kalonzo going with all his troops, remember he had his two governors there, and several MPs. That means there was something talked behind the scene. You come, and there were some promises. But to me, these are promises that Kalonzo should not bank on. He should be his own self, if at all he has the dream of becoming the president of Kenya. If he has the dream, he should not rely on him being given the Raila's constituency or the Raila's followers, or him dreaming of one day Raila saying Kalonzo Tosha. That will not happen.
That was my next question. Is that akin to what happened in 2002?
That will not happen.
Yes.
And something which is even complicating this. Supposing he says Kalonzo Tosha, what does that mean?
Which in this case is more or less the same as
what does that
Kalonzo
mean?
Tosha.
This means he cannot be the leader of opposition, which is in the cooking.
Right.
He cannot be the leader of opposition. Because even if they lose, the leader of the opposition will be the one he is backing. Where will he be? Is Raila ready to be a nobody in the Kenya politics today? The answer is no. So, at the end of the day, I think it's a game of trying to make Kalonzo weak, just stay around the Papa, thinking Papa will say Kalonzo Tosha, so that he doesn't pull his tentacles to areas which can be of his support. It is a high time Kalonzo goes his own way. He should learn some lessons from our current president, what he did even when he was the deputy. He was going his own way as himself, as Ruto, not as Ruto being carried by Uhuru, and that is how he won. So Kalonzo should maybe think of going to the coast as Kalonzo. He should think of going to Meru, whom he has relations, close ties with. He has close ties with Tharaka, but for the time he has been in politics, he has never brought Tharaka to his basket. He has never brought Awambere in his politics. He has never brought the whole of Eastern. So it's a high time he becomes himself, but not a puppet of Papa, because Papa will not say Kalonzo Tosha.
This one, we have the report almost coming out in the next few days. That report is going to be handed over to both principals.
Yeah.
Kalonzo sits there, and as a senior counsel, he's so much privy to what is the content, probably what is even the outcome. And so is Raila Odinga. And when you hear such kind of praises, and he said, let me just quote what Raila said yesterday. I want him, Dr. Ruto, to know that one of us will face him in 2027, and let him know that we will stand with Mr. Musyoka to the end. His attempts to divide us will not succeed.
Like he says, what Raila Odinga is doing right now is he has mastered that Kalonzo Musyoka is a fellow. Once you give him some good praises and some good praise and worship songs, he'll be comfortable. And this is a good strategy to keep Kalonzo to their fold, which to me, I'm going to repeat it again here. The Kenyan politics we are in today, maybe in future, but currently, we are under a regime or a system of politics of deceit. People don't say the truth. People don't keep their word. We were there when President Uhuru Kenyatta said yangu kumi, ya Ruto kumi. Sure. And when after 2017 election, the man changed.
So what is the secret card?
The secret card here is to keep Kalonzo to the fold, but what will happen, like he says, Kalonzo now needs to become a politician of himself. He should be self-made. He should go out and start organizing his ground if he's serious about running. But then if he's waiting to be given an opportunity in some government, then he should start warming up to joining either Kenya Kwanza or wait for another chance of Raila Odinga's presidency if he gets a slot. But these praises, sudden praises that are coming from Raila Odinga's lips are not really convincing.
Why not? I'm still not quite convinced why not. Naftali, because when you look at the formation of Kenya Kwanza, the Kenya Kwanza, they say that President William Ruto will go for the next, 5 years, for 10 years, so to say. But we also have Kalonzo Musyoka now being pushed. The secret card is to keep Kalonzo Musyoka afloat. So what about if he left Azimio? And we all know that Kenya Kwanza is locked. We also know the kind of hierarchy and the selection and the division of portfolios, positions. It's already locked. So now what remains for Kalonzo Musyoka?
Kenya Kwanza is not already locked.
Yeah, that is what
Kenya Kwanza is not already locked, my friend.
They still have open.
In fact, where we are yet to experience.
So can we say that statement was meant to tell him, you guy, stay here?
Yes.
Tunaweza dusa kitu.
A trick.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm saying, do not assume. Kenya Kwanza, in fact, they have more problems than Azimio. The only thing with the Kenya Kwanza is that they are smart. But once they erupt, you will see much defections, even before the next general elections. Very big ones. So politics in Kenya is not only deceitful, but it is full of conmanship.
But that's the nature of politics.
No. In Kenya, not the nature of politics. In politics is where we embrace the doctrine that the numerical majority of an organized group can make decisions binding for the whole group. But in Kenya, it is full of deceit. It is not easily understood or transparent. But be that as it may, ask ourselves, what if Raila Odinga is serious for Kalonzo Musyoka?
Now that's my next question.
What if he is serious?
What if he's serious? How would that change the political landscape in 2027?
Let me now answer you. You see, when the president vies, they vie as a badge with the deputy president. So when Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka faced Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, it is no difference from now next time if Raila Odinga does not vie and Kalonzo vies. The same thing will replicate. William Ruto is not someone who can be beaten easily like that. No, he can be beaten, but not so cheaply like that. You can bring another person from a different group and back him to beat him, but not from within the Azimio. In fact, if Rigathi Gachagua could defect from government and joins Raila Odinga and Azimio, then Azimio decides now to back Rigathi Gachagua. They can beat easily William Ruto, but not from Azimio. Kalonzo Musyoka, as far as I'm concerned, yes, he's a leader with integrity, with the transparency, and with all those nice, but he doesn't have the gusto. He doesn't have the energy.
Okay.
He doesn't have the stamina. He can't.
So they say that anything politics, there's nothing accidental. It's planned.
Yeah.
So it was long coming, and we all know who broke that news. It was not Jeremiah Kioni. It was not Oparanya of this world. It was not even Kalonzo himself. Kalonzo did not even push for that word to come from Raila Odinga.
Yeah.
But now it's coming from Raila Odinga.
Yeah.
When you look at that, so where does that leave Raila Odinga? If they say that we are going to support Kalonzo Musyoka, one of us is going to face President William Ruto in 2027, and we are going to stand. Yeah. So where does that leave Raila Odinga? Which means that Raila Odinga is out of the equation in 2027. So where is it?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If he supports Raila,
yes.
If he supports Kalonzo, that means you'll be a nobody in 2027, because he can't be the leader of opposition. He cannot be. So the issue you should look at is this. Where you ask, where does that leave Raila Odinga?
Yes.
If it is true, and if it can happen, which we 90% will not, but just in case, I think it will be a walkover for the Kenya Kwanza. Why? Because if you compare in leadership theories, there is what we call the strong man's theory. That means a leader is born with some traits which make him a leader even before he is molded. So when you look at Raila and Kalonzo, it's like Evan Adele. Raila is a more stronger opponent, a more stronger candidate.
Gentlemen, let's not forget what happened in 2002.
2002 was a different...
It was all for Raila to take, but we all know what happened.
2000, and he gave it to Kibaki.
But you can't compare 2000.
No.
Kibaki was a guru.
That was it.
You can't compare Kibaki and Kalonzo.
What I'm saying...
Until it happened, until it happened that Kibaki tosha.
But Kibaki, Mwai Kibaki the late was a guru in politics. That guy, you can't compare him
with Kalonzo.
He was a big wig in politics.
Let me continue. We are looking at Kalonzo and Raila.
Yes.
If at all Raila was not able to beat Ruto, now you bring in Kalonzo. And I'm not very sure whether, even if Raila brings in Kalonzo, Raila will agree to be the running mate.
Okay.
Maybe he will bring somebody else.
Okay.
So Raila will be like an elder, an advisor, just at the very. Look at a combination of Kalonzo and somebody else, maybe Opalanya, is an example.
Now, that's a question.
If you
now balancing on who is going to be Kalonzo's running mate.
Kalonzo's running mate.
Yes.
If you give it to Opalanya, then it will have messed everything, because we'll be talking of the area that Kenya Kwanza has really invaded,
yes.
the Luhya land.
Okay.
Look at that's where Mudavadi is. That is where Wetangula is. And now you are going to give what percentage, what block will you be taking?
We all know.
Forget about that.
Just a quick one, because I'm told we are almost running out of time.
Yeah.
But David Alu, look at this way. We have got some of the positions being negotiated during these bipartisan talks. Yeah. The office of the opposition leader, entrenchment of the cabinet secretary position is there. So a quick one, gentlemen. Give me a rundown of that, how that government would look like a day after 2027 election if it was Kalonzo Musyoka the president.
You are trying to impose the Kalonzo Musyoka as our president.
No, I'm trying to bring an hypothesis here. With the kind of positions we have from the bipartisan talks.
Yes.
1 minute. We have to do this.
This one, I don't think Kalonzo equation is working. It's not even adding up. But let's assume it goes that way, because nothing is impossible in politics. Then we are seeing a scenario where Kalonzo Musyoka now is the flag bearer, and then they get him a running mate from maybe Mount Kenya, because Mount Kenya is a block. And the only person they would consider in Mount Kenya, because Martha Karua did not deliver, maybe now they should go for Mwangi Wairia
and
Jeremiah Kioni, which again becomes, if you look at how Rigiji is performing in his backyard, the man is trying to find a way of bringing his team together. It might be tricky, but should that happen, then it means Raila Odinga will now be bargaining for the prime cabinet secretary slot.
Thank you.
And then gives Kalonzo the presidency, because for whatever reason.
All right. Alun, Naftali. A day after 2027 election, and we are
because I don't see Raila as the speaker of the National Assembly, but maybe that prime cabinet.
Very quickly, Naftali.
I don't also see Raila Odinga being a super cabinet secretary. I don't see. So if Kalonzo is the president, the next president, then Raila Odinga will be just there, but not a cabinet secretary. It is too low. It is too low for him.
Yeah. But can he bargain for nothing?
Yeah, he can.
Look at this scenario also, where Raila sees maybe doesn't have the strength to give it another shot. The president does another shot. Raila knows very well all these other people who have been behind him are not equally strong. So
in the interest of time, give me a lineup. In the interest of time.
Me, I see Kalonzo being the leader of opposition, not the president. Just in case he is
in case he is the president.
Just in case.
Please.
Just in case. Just in case he is the president. Okay, Devin Raila will be...
Director says that it's so sweet that we don't need to wind up. We'll take a break, then he'll give us how many minutes for this? Okay. All right. So we take a break and then we come back to it.
Okay.
Director says that, hey, kitu ni tamu sana. All right. I know which side of political divide he is. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us. All right, well, welcome back. So, Director, thank you. Asante. So, Mwathi, very quickly.
So, a Kalonzo lineup would be him being the president. The running mate, you'd have to look for a running mate from Mount Kenya. If at all, because any question without Mount Kenya person would mean he is leaving the Mount Kenya block all the way to Kenya Kwanza, which you not risk.
Karwa is there.
So there's Mwangi idea.
We have
there's
Jeremiah Kioni.
There's Mother Karwa. All these
Maina Njenga is also there.
Maina Njenga is also there. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you pick one from those. I don't say who, but at the end of the day, none of those can give him a substantial number of votes. Not even what Raila got last time. None of them can give him what Raila got from Mount Kenya the last time. So at the end of the day, you'll be having somebody there who will not bring in votes, but just for ceremonial. But I'm looking at him going to, remember Kalonzo has been a daddy of the coast. Remember, we have people like the late Kalisa Maitha, who are his buddies. Remember, they also border. They also with the Taitas and the rest, and we are seeing him going to the coast to at least ensure that he gets that. Okay. That leaves him. I don't have a specific person whom he can get from there, but definitely get somebody from there. I'm not seeing in his government
from the coast.
I'm seeing him getting somebody from the coast.
Okay,
because that's a soft spot for him.
We all know the Kambas are predominantly also inhabitants of coastal region, but then that's it. Look at this way. So, who is Raila trying, if not Kalonzo Musyoka, what is Raila trying to do? Politically, neutralize or build something?
Raila Odinga is neutralizing the visit of President Ruto to Luo Nyanza recently. But before you get there, I come from Western Kenya.
Yes.
And I know the voting patterns of Western Kenya are similar to that of Coast. We don't vote in the same basket. And that is why any serious candidate who wants to get to make a kill out of it should align between Rift Valley and Mount Kenya.
Yes.
And so you realize, and even if that would be the case, I'm trying to look at the mathematics of Musalia Mudavadi and Jeremiah Kioni, 2013. We all know what happened. It looked so bad when they came up as a duo. It didn't work. So in the long run, Raila Odinga is neutralizing the ground, but I am 98% convinced that Raila Odinga will be on the ballot in 2027. Maybe with a running mate, the likes of Maina Njenga, because he has the following, or something like that. But Raila Odinga will not leave this thing to Kalonzo Musyoka. He's just trying to neutralize the ground and try to keep Kalonzo to his fold. Because one thing about the Kamba community, they have proven to be loyal to their leader, Kalonzo Musyoka, since 2007.
Yes.
They've been voting wherever Kalonzo is. That is where they put their votes. And so whoever is serious about running without Kalonzo, and even President Ruto is looking for Kalonzo.
Remember,
he wants to work with Kalonzo.
Was in Kitui during the homecoming of Senator. Why did he say that on Saturday in Kitui? They waited until they went to border with the
that is what I'm saying. So you realize he did this deliberately. Yes. This was a deliberate move to neutralize the effects, the aftermath effects of President Ruto's visit to Nyanza. Because Raila Odinga knows clearly he can't say this in Ukambani, knowing that he won't give that support to Kalonzo.
I'll treat that as your closing remarks.
Yes,
Naftali.
Yeah, I have a conviction. I have a feeling that Raila Odinga is disposed to make an influence as far as our politics is concerned, especially in the general election. But it depends on how he acts right away. In my view, if he desists from politics, if he completely desists from politics right away, then the Azimio will get a chance to modify themselves and come up with a competent candidate.
Yes.
But if he keeps on streamlining, because he has been given so much time to streamline, but he has been defeated in the previous. So if he keeps on, again acting like he is the main mediator in that now upcoming elections, then it will be a lose to the Azimio's side.
Okay.
But if he decides to retire completely,
yes,
I'm telling you that we will get the defections from Kenya Kwanza, they will join Azimio, and then a man is going to be picked, or a woman, who is going to defeat William Ruto. But with the Raila Odinga in place,
that's an interesting bit.
I'm telling you, that's an interesting, because already the central people have that strong dislike for Raila Odinga. So whoever is going to back, they will not resonate.
Okay.
They can't resonate.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Raila will be in the ballot in 2027. But in case, for one reason or another,
what would make him to change that narrative in Bondo yesterday for him to be at the ballot in 2027?
No. The yesterday's speech was just a way of managing Kalonzo. It was nothing other than ensuring that Kalonzo is closer to him until the D-Day when he makes his final decision on what to do, either to be in the ballot or back William Ruto. He can say William Ruto Tosha. By then they will have created the seat of Prime Cabinet Secretary. It will be too strong. I remember he has tested it before. It was almost just slightly below the presidency. It was a seat that was creative. It was a seat that was so good. And he knows a sure bet is either make a gamble of becoming the president. But the surest bet is say William Ruto Tosha, with the promise of being the Prime Cabinet Secretary, which will be so strong, and he can begin to tell William Ruto, I want this to be this and this. Tailor it for me to be almost near you. So as I retire,
so you also say
there is a possibility. It is more likely for Raila Odinga to say William Ruto Tosha than saying let me support Kalonzo.
Okay, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
What if Rigathi Gachagua says he's not going to support William Ruto in 2027 and dumps or moves to Azimio? Just thinking.
Then in
just thinking.
that regard, Raila Odinga again comes and joins who? William Ruto, because it's possible.
Okay.
Raila Odinga can join anyone.
And the running away of Rigathi Gachagua, if he ever thought of that direction, it will have opened a window for the fellows from the other side to now come in and gamble with it.
David Alulu. Kumwami. Asante sana. Asante sana. Thank you so much. Naftali Nyamigo, who is a political and a certified professional mediator. Asante sana for coming over to the show. And of course, Mwathi Ireri, who is also a political analyst and a governance expert. Gentlemen, asante sana. Sure. So, cold morning. And for you to wake up that early to do this, I cannot just say thank you enough. Asante sana. And you, for the viewer, thank you so much for staying with us. We are taking a break, but GMK continues later on. My name is Victor. Have a good morning. Bye-bye for now.